Thank you, Bhante. It's always a pleasure to come, even though it's once a year, to USZI. We go to so many temples. There are about 50 temples. We still cannot go to every temple now that we have added the embassies also of the Buddhist countries. So it's a big circle that we have to complete once a year. And US Zen Institute, this Chinese Buddhist temple, we come in July. That's the time. So actually, since I have the time to tell you before Bhante Dhammadipa begins his talk, is let me give you the schedule for the remainder of July. It's actually full. Very next Saturday on the 14th, we have it at the Korean Buddhist Temple in Rockville, Maryland. All of you are welcome. And then after that, on the 21st, we have the Lotus Festival. This is going to be in Anacostia, in the Lotus Kenilworth Aquatic Park in the morning time. And we have chanting from all the Buddhist countries on the three traditions, like Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. And also we have cultural dancers from 5 countries, Korea, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Burma, Myanmar. So 5 countries are giving cultural dances. There's also going to be a meditation session led in one of the quiet corners of the park. We are offering food to the monks who are going to be there that day in the morning after the chanting and the cultural ceremonies. And you're also welcome to come and help out in the IBA booth, which if there are so many people, every year the number increases. Last year they had 3,000 people come for this festival. So, and the National Park Service likes it so much that they have cooperated with IBA and say, you can put your logo also with ours. And now we want, because people are demanding this, and it increases every year. So that's how popular this festival has become, and IBA has become a sponsor starting this year. Until last year, Maran Buddhism, which was a Korean magazine, they did it for the past 15 to 20 years. And even now, the chief organizer is actually a Korean person who is a member of the advisory council of IBA, Mr. Song. And Bhante Sagarananda led the committee in trying to organize this. And I really thank you for your kindness in that regard. And Bhante Dhammadipa gave the permission for that. And I thank him as well. And of course, so that will go, that's purely a morning to afternoon at most. And there is probably, I'm not sure, there's probably going to be a lecture, PowerPoint lecture on Buddhism that I will give mostly on the life of the Buddha, because people want to know that. But that's still in the offing. Last one is on the 28th of July, the very last Saturday. As I said, every Saturday is booked in July, is the Embassy of Sri Lanka. We have a Dharma study circle there. There's a special embassies. We finished in Embassy of Myanmar during the President's Day weekend. Bhante Dhammadipa gave a beautiful talk there. Embassy of Laos was June 16th. There also Bhante Dhammadipa gave a wonderful talk. Unfortunately, he will not be there for the Sri Lankan embassy. He's headed out to East Asia. We'll miss both of you. But kindly, Bhante Dr. Sagaraguna has agreed to give the Dharma talk on behalf of the USZI, or Chinese Buddhist community. With that, I invite a lot of people. That's what happens. They show up, they don't. But I really thank Bhante Dhammadipa for having this. Whenever he's there, he always comes to every study circle and gives the Dharma talk. If he is not there, he's not able to do it, he sends Bhante Sagaraguna, and that is really kind of, the US Zen Institute people have been the base of the IBA study circle from the standpoint of audience, and please keep it up. It is very important to keep the Dhamma alive, and this is the only way intellectually we can keep it alive. And I am deeply, deeply grateful to Bhante. So with that, let's begin our very first talk with Bhante. Thank you. Only 2 people, so it's not much.
Okay, I think so. It looks like today I have a lot of time to talk about my topic. So if you feel, if you later you fall asleep, just don't snore. Okay. try to keep your snoring, even just only like as if in whispering rather than snoring. Anyway, I think I had to look based on this because maybe I don't just sit it this way. Yeah. I want to look at your face because if you fall asleep, I don't need to say something some story maybe much. Do you think I can have the computer with me? Yeah, that's maybe good, right? Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Right. Today I'm delighted to present one topic. I would call that as its merits and its destination enlightenment according to Sarvastivada, Sarvastivadi Abhidhamma. It's very unfortunate that the Sarvastivada, as one of the in India, was one of the most powerful schools. But since I think started from almost like beginning of the 13th century, but then because of when the Muslim really came to India later, and then they would conquer India for 800 something years, and this school completely died. You don't find this school anymore exist. But one thing that we should be grateful is because this school, even though it's not exist, but still have a very rich material. We still are able to get hold of it. Mostly from Chinese, because started from almost the second century, China started officially. I wouldn't say officially. I mean, I'm talking about this. What we have the record, and with the record, so China started to translate lots of texts from different Indian language in those days into Chinese. And one of the big things, I mean, particularly the Xianzhuang Fashi, and he was greatly interested in this school. Because to him, it is, I know people might like to argue with me, it's fine, but based on you have to do more research by yourself. To Xianzhuang Fashi, without really understand Sarvastivada Abhidhamma, it's almost impossible to understand Mahayana. When I gave this talk a little bit, you might be start to come to a clearer picture. Someone like Xianzhuang Fashi is very, very well educated. And it was one of the reasons why he went to India, because he knew that in China, and those days during the 7th century, because a lot of sources might not be available in China. So he needed to really go to see what the material they have, which I think is a loss of this missing material there. And one other interesting thing also, when Xianzhuang Fashi came back to China, if you really compare the text he'd been translated, the first thing when he came back to China, people always think he translated Mahayana text. It wasn't true at all. I mean, people, if they really study well and look at the translation date, he started to translate almost every Abhidhamma first. In other words, when the translator, if they get the freedom and permission from the king in those days, because he was supported by the king, when these are not a normal person, like Xianzhuang Fashi. When they translate things, he must know what to be learned first, even as his student, what kind of thing to be learned before they really start to learn Mahayana and Yogacara and so forth, or even Shunyatavada. So anyway, but even though we don't have this system, but this system still very, very a lot of similarity to what we call now, they call it Theravada or Pali Buddhism. But still a lot of quite interesting different idea. I mean that led to, I just opened the first page, but for this research, and normally even for people who study Buddhism, the most difficult to study is not Mahayana Buddhism, it's a Sarvastivada Abhidhamma is the most difficult subject. Anyway, now we're back here. I like to say why I want to talk this story. One thing is about Sarvastivada, because it's not many people mostly able to understand, so it's a good time for people to have some idea of what their main focus. And here, my focus, because for the time reason, my focus is Because people talk about punya, abanya, merits. So what are these? How? What is the most better way, and so forth. And then, of course, in Buddhism also, not just because of punya, how this punya also relate to someone that one day we can be enlightenment. That is certainly, from Buddhist perspective, is certainly one of the crucial messages. Now, all this material, I will just keep it here. All are from the Abhidhamma. No, I won't say Abhidhamma. All are from the Sarvastivada school. Okay. So in other words, I'm not going to borrow from any other idea, but only the Abhidhamma from the Sarvastivada school. Okay. Just let me see. Where is it? How to move? No, it doesn't work. Okay. Now, first, when we talk about the Sarvastivada, we must understand it's quite different from Pali. Even the path is very similar. There's no light here. Okay. It's with the Sarvastivada school, this is a very basic idea, but then if you don't understand the structure, then you never really can learn the system very well. In their system, anyone who really want to become Arahant or one day even become Bodhisattva or Buddha, they all know light. And they all have to first learn, must learn how to have the 质量. Or usually we say how you must have the requisites. Or sometimes you can understand as a kind of equipment. You must have requisites before you really can move on. You really can move on to the application. Application, you could say like how you really can put it into practice, in action. All are in action, but this one is I would say application here may be more referred to that anytime you could use it, kind of like that, or no? And then only when you have this, anytime you can use it, then you will be moved to the path of the seeing the truth. In other words, seeing the truth means you have become a small nibbana. So you will see the truth and you see the nibbana. And from there, then you become the saint. Either the Sotapanna, Sakadagami, you 一果, 二果, 三果, 四果, you become a saint. And then up to that, you don't have to learn anymore as a saint. And this kind of structure, because particularly not necessarily nowadays, the Buddhists in the modern society, they're interested with that. But you have to imagine this kind of topic highly regarded, particularly for the monastic member. Definitely when we start Buddhism during the Buddha's time, and that's the simple understanding of the path first. So, and then if you look at this, the path for the equipment, then here you have this, again, the part of equipment, or sometimes, just now I translate as a requisite. The path of the requisite, you divide it into the aids to the marriage and the aids to liberation. In others mean, how one can have a 质量. Chinese is very clear. The 质量, it means the sampara, in Sanskrit. How one can have the equipment, or how one can have requisites. You have to get that from two sources, or you could say from two kind of the way, and the two way is compulsory. Today I will just give a very simple idea, but of course when you learn anything you must have the big picture first, the simple idea and the big pictures, and of these two, the aids to the marriage and aids to the liberation. So without this, of course, according to Sarvastivada understanding, without this kind of equipment or without the requisite, it's almost impossible you have the application. Okay, and in this application, usually we call the application is also called the aids to penetration. It means like a wisdom, 通达, you can really penetrate, 就通达 in Chinese. So, and then with that, you also have this 4 stages. The first stage, this is all translation word, okay? You usually usma, 软法 in Chinese. The usma, or the heat, dharma. The second, the summit, murtang, called 顶法, 顶, 就是最顶的那个顶. And then you have the Shanti, 人法，比如说很多人喜欢讲无生法忍的忍，人法 acceptance. And the highest mundane factors, Laukika Dharma, mean the 就是四第一法 that's the word the most important, because when someone, if they are fulfilling all this, and then when they practice their meditation, even this is including all our meditation too sometimes, and then you will reach this stage and they have a very, very precise method to teach how. Because to Sarvastivada, they don't like to say, okay, you just practice, and then one day you are Nibbana. No, they don't have the idea. They are very precise. When you finish practice this, you can move on practicing. When you finish practice this, you can move on practicing. From here, you might be work harder and longer and blah, 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 and this. And then if you're able to move from here, almost for sure you will become a saint. They have a really, really very precise technique, okay? Okay. But since this is a really, even a lot of people interest, as I say, when you learn anything, I always suggest people again and again and again, because I don't think people like to listen to that. They always want this thing. And then it end up to just talking, and they don't know how to do it. That's, I'm not a lot of problem with that, okay? Now, okay. Sometimes we also divided this the way as the path of liberation, okay? Like, remember the path of liberation means it still belongs to the path of the requested. No, you don't remember. Here. The aids to liberation, you could say. The path, no, we can look at the path as the path of liberation. And then in the path of liberation, you have these two kinds of people, right? One kind of people we call that as 就是凡夫嘛，不都讲了 ordinary people, and the people 圣者 the noble person. 有时候我们翻译成贤者 Chinese, okay? And then, in other words, if you are still in this path of equipment and path of application, you are still belong to the ordinary people. But when you start to practice the path of vision to the path of cultivation, to the path of adapt, or the path of no study anymore, then you are the noble people. Okay, let me just pick back to the picture. It means in this part, even though you're highly practiced, you are still as a noble people, 就是凡夫. Only when you reach this state, you could start to call you are the noble people. Okay? Now we know that this is a very, very simple concept. Because you need to have this concept, and then now we come to the content of the first two. So that you know, even though I try many, I'm still not the noble person. I'm still not noble, but I'm still what I translate, the normal people, like common people. Okay, all right. Now let's look at it. So when we say it about the part of equipment, we always say in Sarvastivada, it means the merits that aids to merit. Okay, it means the word bhagya. It's kind of like to do with the like flow. Okay. You flow to the merits, okay. And then, and then also, we was also understanding when we say that we flow to the moksha, the liberation, moksha or 解脱, 我们叫解脱. If you want to flow to the liberation, so we must understand it's the intention of the liberation. Okay, let me repeat again. We are going to discuss a little more later. One is about when you understand we need to fulfill in two things in order to have a requested. It's almost like you need certain resource so that you can be able to really practice very well. Okay? And then the first one is to do with marriage. We've discussed that. Then you have lots of content. How and what kind of marriage? Why they are so important. And the other is that you will flow to the liberation. Very interesting in Sarvastivada. The concept of the flow to the liberation, the highest main factor is about intention. This I would address the issue. Okay, you fall asleep already, very difficult subject, very boring, you don't know what it is. So why, let me just give you some little story. Like when even I was become a monk, people telling you, and of course as a monk, I don't mean the lay people. Of course, especially when you just newly become a monk. The same thing when anybody who go to university, if they were told, why you want to go to university? I want to finish my study 4 years, right? And then if possible, I will just finish 1 year. Whatever, I mean, this is the way. And so the topic is certainly for the monks and those who are newly become a monk. This is really, really important. But the problem is that when you go, the people always tell you just be a monk doing this. Hardly people trying to tell you what you should do. What the thing you need to do in this step to other step to the other step to the other step. Okay? So I want to share this is because according to this Abhidhamma or this system, Sarvastivada, the same as a party, even they might have things that's similar, but they don't structure in such a way. But Sarvastivada Abhidhamma, if you study well, this is a basic knowledge. You cannot say, I don't know this knowledge. If you don't know this knowledge, what are you doing? Just like you go to university, first what you should study and when you complete this and then what you can go further. You don't know. So you're jumping here and there like a flock, right? So, and in this concept, they always say, because the Sarvastivada school really, really emphasizes on the path. No path, no Nibbana, okay? Okay, so in Chinese say, according they say in the Chinese translation here from the Mahavipasa, said that like the Sutta say, the requisite is based on a path, and then the Nibbana is based on the path. In other words, mean if no this path, there's no Nibbana. Okay. So if the requisite is based on a path, and then the Nibbana is based on a path, so you must have the requisite in order to have the path so that you can attain Nibbana. Something, put it this way. Okay. Now, I think I need to jump a little bit because there are a lot of things to say. And then how, firstly, we say that firstly you must have the way to flow to the punya, flow to the merit, 就是怎么有功德, how you should have them flow to merit. We first learn the word punya, okay? Punya, bhaga, you could say a possession which is a portion of a merit. And then, anyway, you could say the batch also from divide or partake, that you have holding it. However, sometimes the bhagya also with the e, so it's sometimes we say that you flow to, you would lead you to having the possession of the merit. Okay. And this is actually maybe not in the Pali language, but in Chinese it's very important. We always talk about the gongde, how you should have merit, gongde, how you should have punya, how you should have punya, and so even nowadays, gongde is become an important concept in Buddhism, the merit. Now this is I know it's a little difficult, but however, sometimes we talk about gongde, sometimes the gongde punya translated as a fude, the same word, okay. And when we say the punya is as in a state of attaining, when you say the kriya is meant as an action, have the nature of the karma, while the base is the basic for the existence of the relation. Now this one is actually explained by Abhidhamma Kosa and many places also, but Abhidhamma Kosa just want to explain that in a simple way. Just telling you, when the action is done with the basis of the right intention, and this is how you're attaining the punya. Okay? Everyone understand? So I think this is, so let's say the wholesome relation, which is also the action done by the three actions, bodily, verbal, and mentally, is the basis of meditatory action. Okay, so that's why they call it, actually not panya, just punya, sorry. Punya kriya vastu, this is the term. This term, even you find the same thing in Pali, but never Pali really try to explain in the way as a Sarvastivada. This Sarvastivada have a unique character, they try to explain it. And in the Sangiti Sutta say, there are three basic of the meditatory action. They are merit consists in generosity, merit consists in moral conduct, and merit consists in cultivation. So if you want to build up the merits, 福报 或者功德, you have to build up the merit through three ways. It means one is by generosity, 布施. And the second way is that the merit consisting in the moral conduct, 就是我们一般中文习惯的叫持戒。And the third one, the merit consists in cultivation. 一个就是叫修类，就是修福。OK， 修行的修福。Okay, what does it mean the merit consisting in generosity? So let's say people offering the food, medicine, clothes, or the place for the shelter to the not only just to ascetics or monks, but you offer this kind of food, medicine, clothes, and place, shelter to the ascetics, Brahmins, as well as the poor. If you look at the Chinese translation, I didn't do it wrong, okay? By means of the bodily and speech or mind, these are the merits consisting in generosity. Why I want to put this thing, in other words, mean 2,000 years ago, this kind of so-called nowadays called a charity or good action, goodwill action is always there. And he said that very clearly, it's not you do this kind of goodwill action just purely for the monastic also, for the temple only. Said that very clear, and then you will have further information later. When nowadays, when there's a lot of disaster happening, so, and that's from the long time, it's according to this school thing that the Buddha, from the time, advised us already, we need to help these people. We need to have this social engagement of these people. You will get married, okay, then just by helping them. The poor, yes, the first is ascetic, the second is the religious people, and then the third is the poor. But basically mean you have to help them, So, but to help them by many ways, by the speech, by body action, go to help as a volunteer, help them, relieve their suffering, that's also called generosity. And help them by the speech, of course, you might be appeal to the people. These people need help. Maybe even nowadays, modern term, you could say, even you write anything, right, on the newspaper, telling people that people need help, see. So, of course, you don't have to write, it's good for your marriage. Nobody understands in that kind. But I'm talking from Buddhist perspective. They say this is very important to build up the marriage, okay? And the third is that by the mind, of course, now, then we will have talk about that more later. So, in other words, your intention of your mind have to really there, So that's, I need to say this again and again because it sounds like, sometimes people complain, like, oh, Buddhists do not do much enough. They not do enough of this kind of social, what's the term for it? Social charity? Huh? Yeah, social engagement that. Somehow, some people think maybe the Buddha also talked to you Nibbana. Okay, Nibbana, this is none of my business. So some people have that image. And unfortunately, this image not that happen just because they are not Buddhist. Even Buddhist, they would think, Nibbana, everybody Nibbana. They don't care, these people. They think this is not my business. But that according to Sarvastiva, of course, what they think, understand, as the Buddha is saying, it's that, yeah, you have to do that. Otherwise, you don't have this kind of marriage. You must have this merit, And this is a really fundamental also. I mean, very basic. It's a foundation, It's a foundation. Now, how to be efficiently generating generosity? And that's one of the topics. Even though since this has become a big topic, of course, and people will really know what is a more efficient way to do it. Yes, we want to help the poor. In order to get married and in order to have this. How? It's a Abhidhamma Kosa explained that. So basically, if you want to do that, you must also out of the attitude of respect and kindness towards the other. Otherwise, the merit will not generate. Okay? You have to generate is always with this respect, puja, and the kindness, anugraha. It's humble. Be like maybe people say, "Why you want to give it to me?" You really with the humble, not like, "Hey, I'm basic. I give that to you." No, that kind of respect the people. And puja, at least from a Buddhist perspective, not necessarily puja the way like common understand. Puja, Only in front of the Buddha is mean the puja, but not in front of Buddha, the God, and they are not puja. No, you have to offer them, even offer to the monk, offer to the religious people, or offer to these people who are poor, having the difficulty, and then you need to respect them as if they are the God, as if they are the people who are worth to respect. So with that respect to give, offer. You see, this teaching, we need to elaborate because, people always think otherwise they don't value it. You have to really encourage them to value it, that offering this kind of thing for that people when they have difficulty. In the Buddhist, it's always encouraged to do, and then you have to do it in the right attitude. Okay. Now, and then not only this, what about the giver? Yes, people receive. In the text saying, even the giver, they must have this excellence of generosity. If the giver is under the 7 quality kind of person, or a donor, the donor is about in the 7 quality. They have good faith, okay? They are pure, their virtue is good. They are listening to teachings all the time. Not like the one, okay, I will just give it. They always sincere to listen how the best way to help them, what the best way to do that, And then, of course, they are not like foolish people. Sometimes you can be manipulated sometimes, but you have wisdom to do the best way to help. That, if they can having this quality. And even these people have the abandon of the defilements. I'm sure even some activists nowadays, activists or some people really a Greek donor, they might be really go there to help. But yes, fine, but they're not necessarily sometimes having this 7 kind of quality. They have a lot of ego. They can have a lot of different things, like anger, craving. So, but of course, fine. They're still helping. They also get a marriage. But what is the excellent one? The excellent one that they don't have this kind of quality. I mean, why I want to mention this because even in other words, to Buddhism, just to be a volunteer to help people, or to go there, or to be a Greek donor, or just to have action, to help this problem when people in a difficulty. So it's a way to develop your virtue. It's a way to develop your goodness. Understand? It's not like unlike other religion. They never talk about that, of course. But in Buddhism, according to the Sarvastivada, that is really important. That not just, let's say if I go to give, I always get angry. I don't like these people, I don't like the people, I don't like this, I don't like that. Angry, Then this is, you even though you may be giving, you give merit, but it would not be the best. The best is that you should get rid of the anger, get rid of ego, get rid of this, and then you just do it, in a way. All right, and then also they must have the sense of guilt. Sorry, we translate guilt, I should change next time. So they must feel shame if they did commit something wrong. And then also the sense of shame or sense of, somebody they say shy maybe. So you feel that something wrong if I did something. Or sometimes I could be like, I give, even though I was offering something, but I didn't do it well because I with the pride to offer something like that. And then sometimes when you offer, you didn't offer it the right way. Like you really can make the people feel much better and happier, but you didn't do it, so you feel like, oh, this is what we call shame. We call hiri. I mean, for the other's sake. Oh, that's wrong. Maybe next time I should do it in a better way. So this is, somehow at least you just remember. I need to stress this again. Because Buddhism will care everything what you are doing. You are doing something good already. But why don't you do it in the best way? So you get the much more best result, Now, and of course, what about the receiver? Yes, if the receiver, even all this, we say, if the receiver is in the higher rank, the receiver like human rather than the animal, you can help animal. I mean, if there was something, helping a human, it's more merit than as the Buddhist perspective, than the animals. Okay, maybe people don't like it. They say, I think animal is more important than a human. We are not here to say animal is not important. It's just a way, at least the Buddhists certainly understand to help human. The reason they also given that reason in other places, saying that why the helping the human is more merit than the receiver as a receiver than the animal. Because the human they have mind, they have brain to think. They can do more in return to the whole well-being, okay? I think I should stop here a little while before I go on because so boring subject. I will stop when we finish this later too, and then we stop getting asked, and then we have a little pause, have some water, and then we can just continue. So, and then donate to the suffering state. People in suffering, when, of course, including animal, they are in suffering. When you donate a thing, if you can donate people in suffering or donate animal, any kind of thing, being way in a suffering state, even higher merit than they are not in suffering state. Okay? And as well as so given some example. For example, there are 7 kinds of children. Let's say you can donate to the people, the guests, when they stay in a foreign country. It's almost like nowadays you say, somebody say, I want to go to other country, I don't have money. If you are really can give that kind of money support them to go to foreign country because they know it's unlike at home. At home, even though how much you don't have money, you always can borrow money, you have your relative friends around. But when you're in a foreign country, you don't have that. So that is, well, whether you agree or disagree is not my business at the moment. I'm just saying that the information is given. It certainly shows that clearly that they have a very deep thought about what kind of condition is the best way for people to do it in order, for them to build up the marriage. Okay? And for example, to the traveler, and then to the people who are sick, donate to the attendants, to the care of the sick, people who are really sick, and then you donate this, helping this. Let's say you donate the money when people get sick, and they cannot have many people look after the people, and you say, no problem, I can generate this, and this get good for my merit. I just support the people, nurse nowadays we call her, or some people who have a nurse license. I support the money for them to look after these old people. And these people when sick. Those are the Buddhism say is great, great merit that you have developed. Okay. Nowadays, well, up to this point, sometimes when I say that, even we have such a beautiful idea, even 2,600 years, or at least 2,300 years ago to 2,400 years ago, but we only live talking now. We forget that's what the Buddhist teaching tells us. In order to have marriage, please do a lot of this. And our focus sometimes become, I don't have to say too much, just only in one side, and then the other side is completely forget. If people are really sincere in the teaching in the old day, this can be well developed already, and then definitely is really very beneficial for the society. And also people donating a garden to the temple. I like to say this because in the future our Zen Institute, meditation, we need a garden. So please help souls. Because Buddhism actually, I very much appreciate the nature and the tree and what is nature and so forth. It's a kind of very green kind of idea. It's always there. And then also donation for the ceremony in the temple, we're having this dana, offering food. And then sometimes you need certain more chair, so that people can sit. So then the people can feel more comfortable to coming over, join in that when they have this way. And those are also important. And then donation to the survivor experience, basically when, this mentioned here, when the people have a weather condition, the flood, any difficulty, earthquake, then people get really trouble. And those are the great merit, 7 of them. So that's okay, and also, one of the important also, the benefactor also, and if the receiver is in relation to it's your parents. I forgot to put S. It's your parents. It's very important to support your parents. And or your teacher, the master, or the other, but anyway. So those are the general concept of that. Okay. Of course, very important if these people they even have a good virtue. Okay. Right, all right. Now, this is about the merits we can recruit from what? We can recruit the merits from our, recruitment from our donation. Okay. Why don't? Because I don't want to fall asleep. Because only when I attack, if there's no engage, your mind is really like drowsy. It's very easy. We will keep on. I haven't finished. Is it too long? If it's too long, we can stop here too. No problem. And why don't we just engage and people say a few things and discuss a little, and then we can keep on. Yes. And I have a chance. Thank you. To drink some water.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Shifu, I do have a question. So, even since the Buddha spelled out there that you get more merits when you help human being versus an animal, I do understand because human being can give back more to being, whole being. But how about personally, if I run into a situation, just say I have very limited capacity, just say if I have very limited time, and just say my dog, I know my dog has been pretty depressed because there are some depressing symptoms. But versus there's an elderly person. That person is not my relative, but just a friend's friend. And I heard the elderly person is kind of isolated, lonely at home. But that person, we're not saying that person has depression. So then when I try to prioritize who I need to help first, is that okay? I just go with my own kind of affections. It's like, I think my dog is depressed. So I think I want to dedicate my time to the dog now before I help the elderly person.
Well, I mean, this is one thing I also like Buddhism. It's not never really saying that. For example, we will not say that because the animal is the base is facing to the sky and then you can abuse and whatever you like to do. We don't have that kind of concept. Certainly, from a Buddhist perspective, to respect the animals, certainly it's, even from a textual evidence, certainly is much more better than any other, in general, in other religions. Even now, other religions think they are doing very well now. That's not according to the scripture, but we are talking about scripture. Yes, I know your question. Your question was asking such a thing like, if the dog is in depression and the other woman in the difficulty, even though maybe the woman is either in depression or depression, but I still feel that I need to help my dog more than the woman in a certain sense because my time is limited and so forth. Yeah, I think that's okay. I mean, we just say that comparatively, we are not asked. Because Buddhism is not a religion. Definitely, always asks you to put on your extreme. You don't want to go extreme. It's just a way to general, like you just explained. Because if you can say that in general, if I can help human, because they are a higher living beings, they can benefit more in the long run. So like that. But then if you think the dog really is the one that you feel that you need to do, but at least you're still getting married, you're still doing a good thing. So, it's no point to just to say, then I would just dump my dog and then I would help that woman because that the dog is someone that next to you. So I always also believe something like that. If someone next to you, you are not going to help them like a family. Including the monastic members, I always don't believe that. We usually have a word to say when you go to a temple. You want to see the temple is good, are they practicing well? Don't look at the master, look at the student. But if the student behave very badly, you just don't have to stay, you know well. So it looks like, maybe the student not represent the master. But that show not about because the master controlled her well or trained them well, it's not about that. Because they must learn their behavior from the master, especially if when they were younger time, they would follow them. Unfortunately, the same, something we must be very careful, even the same as a family. Yes, we are not saying that. We are talking not just one or two people. Imagine in old day in the temple, then you have about 20 people. But almost 19 or 15 people are behave badly. So how can you believe that the master really have a good behavior too? I don't know. So it's true. This is how, as a Chinese way saying, even as our monkhood, because I know you're not monk, you don't know that. For us, to see the master is one thing. Usually we see the surrounding. How these people behave. If these people behave badly, well, this is showing that one thing is the same thing because they are the one who are close to you. Even sometimes people are close to you is more difficult to train. But this is actually what really mean by training. Now, like the same thing, like if you are in a family, so the family, the family training is very important. Even maybe, let's say if you can train the dog well, let them live happily, and rather than they let the dog depressed and almost dying and looking so awfully there, and then you always say, I'm a nice person, I'm a good Buddhist, because I always go to the neighbor to help my neighbor. What? The dog was like dying. No, but I said, because the Buddha say, human is more. No, it's no. But we just say that this is a kind of general saying, like you know the explanation, because this is just a way to tell that, yeah, helping human is so important. But that's something also telling you something, if you're too over, there are people, they don't care human. Yeah, right? If people really no food to eat, nothing. If the dog no food to eat, go to buy the food, get something. Human, no. So that is that could be sometimes become another extreme, right? Okay. Any other? Yes, please.
In your Chinese translation, in the third line, it says, qi shen zai. What is that? 其名常喜，从今。It's a number 6 item. It's a number 6 item. 时常喜，未有谈悦一时。
No, basically the Chushan Zai is generally mean that when you offer, the sun here is not a monk, the sun here means community. You offer the food. Of course, the Zai is always referred to not eat after 12 o'clock. So when you offer the food to the community consists of 7 kind of person.
7 times.
Yeah.
What are they?
The monk, the nun, the samaneri, and then a woman who been observed in the place, Shikshamana, 5th one, and then the lay person and layman, the lay woman. Okay, yeah. All right, okay. Now, shall we go on? Do you think that you get a little fresh now? I had to apologize. My topic is very boring. This kind of way is kind of like bore, but I just think it's important information to share, you always can present a thing, and now we just mentioned in order to recruit merit, you have 3 ways. And then actually you need to do the 3 ways, not just 1 way, but first way is about the generosity. And the second one is a 持戒, that means in virtue. So, I don't need to explain that. The virtue, of course, that you must take these 5 precepts as a simple rule. It's interesting today when some of my friends came to visit us and stay with us, so we also have a little discussion about this. In the discussion, what I try to explain also, the 5 precepts, what we call as a kind of rudiment, kind of way of observance, is as if like when you have a little kid, when the kid's here, you are not going to talk too much first. They have to learn something like, don't kill the human, don't, not other thing, and don't lie, don't steal, and don't do anything is not appropriate, sexually, of course, maybe more understand, but like that. And the other thing is that don't take anything is wrong. Like this, only when the people come to like a teenager and more sophisticated, and then you start to explain why you don't want to kill. And also, even when you say don't lie, they're including the 10 karma, kusala karma, wholesome karma. Don't lie, don't say frivolous speech, don't speak like two-tongue speech, say this thing and to make the trouble and so forth. That's when the people are in the sophistication later on, like that. So that's why the 5 precepts is so important. At first, it's almost like everybody who just step in the Buddhist area, they would just let them have a little fundamental understanding what they should do in the virtue. Now, here, back to our subject, to have the virtue is not just, have a virtue. From a Buddhist perspective, you are also cultivating the merits, okay? We only know in that 我们种功德都是布施 but you must understand that doing the keeping the virtue is a merit. For example, you could argue that. Some people argue, why these people, they are not necessarily Buddhist. In the past life, maybe they are, we don't know. But one thing for sure, they are not a Buddhist. But some people are really a Buddhist in this life. Why they are not very rich? Why the other people are not Buddhist, they are rich? I mean, I'm not Buddha, I cannot explain that to you. I'm not Buddha, I can see the past life, past billion past life. Even if I have power to see something, it's just very limited, right? But it's believed that the Buddha see the past life. You must be really a powerful person, a monk like a Buddha, or see the past life, not just one or two or three, but many, 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 so that you know. Okay, so like that, but this explains, though they're rich because you see these people are very nice. I know where I come from, the place. If you, in those days, if outside you have a little policeman because of the car accident, you put the light there, If you keep it there next night, stolen. And the father will store it for the kid. This is a little toy for you. In America, you keep it there, nobody will steal that thing. They don't steal that. They will not steal that. They build up this merit already. Right? If you keep this thing in any kind of street, in America, like some other thing, like even when I live in England, there's so many things, always as an Asian, some people when they stick together with something, laugh. If this one is in my country, just within the blink of an eye, gone. Sometimes even in the chair, if you put it outside, you forget. Fine, but not in a certain place, I tell you. Where is it gone immediately? This virtue is not there. Okay. That explains why these people can be so meritorious, because they have the virtue. Okay? Not that also, they also do the generosity, a lot, helping the poor people, helping these people, helping people in need. Right. That explains why they can build up such a good, even the whole country becomes so rich in a many way, because that's how the marriage help. Okay. So I think I need to jump. So if the virtue also, in Abhidhamma course especially, they want to elaborate a little further about the virtue. You can have the marriage by cultivating the virtue. It's also the virtue of the fear, Bhaya Sila, okay? And then the mercenary fear, the Asasti Silam, and the virtue appropriate to the factors of awakening, and the virtue that is Parisutan Silam, meaning the purification. So, like the first one, fear. So, still the same thing. If the people fear, yes, usually we don't encourage fear, but this kind of fear, we do think is good for your virtue, so that you can have a good marriage. The fear of the loss of the resource necessary for the life. Okay. You must have that. Like if you have a house, you should be fear that your house is lost, and then your life is gone, and then even the other people's life is gone, so like that. Or like no food, the fear of no food, the fear of that. It's a virtue, and then the fear of the bad reputation, right? Some people, they think, I don't care. Even people want to criticize me, newspaper put there, I don't need to say nowadays, you can have this kind of unfortunate thing. They don't care, because I care more money. If I can have more money, how why I care this reputation? That's definitely not from a Buddhist perspective. And then the fear of the chastisement, right? Like not having this relationship problem, like that. And then the fear of that we're born in a bad place, like that. Okay, I don't need to mention this. I mean something just that beside this kind of thing. And then you must be also the virtue developed, because you can practice the Bodhyanga Anuloma Sila. Basically mean you can practice anything to do with the body that will give your virtue, very, very stable. And also, of course, that anything that you keep the virtue, so make your mind purified. Like this is also including. And now we just back to Ada. I finish the virtue. This is actually a short version what I'm giving. So, and the other is about the marriage consisting in cultivation. In this Sangiti Pariyada Abhidhamma say, the practice of the four immeasurable mind is a marriage consisting in cultivation. When you say you want to practice in meditation, bhavana, I always say that. Bhavana, if you like to translate in the nowadays in the modern term, means meditation. Bhavana, even though a Chinese always translate as a xiu, so but the word xiu means the meditation. Nowadays if you want to translate in English. So through the meditation, Maya, by the meditation, how do you cultivate the marriage? What kind is in cultivation, xiuxin, that you have marriage is that through the immeasurable mind, 就是四无量心. Okay. And then, of course, other texts like Mahavipassa say, among all these, if you practice the meditation, you will have dhyanas. But among that, the most powerful one is that when you practice the immeasurable mind. Okay. I think I need to jump this because this is very complicated explanation. Why? Why? Because when you practice this, you have punya, you have kiriya, and you have the vastu. This should be vastu. How you have the kiriya and punya and vastu, so that you have a powerful marriage. They have their own explanation to put the three together. And however, Abhidhamma Kosa also stress. In other words, Abhidhamma Kosa say any kind of practice, meditation, that you have a dhyana, it will give you the marriage. However, among that, if you practice a meditation of the immeasurable mind, you will have the most benefit of it. Okay. I need to jump this as well. Okay, because since then we know one term. The term is called Brahma, Fan. Okay, divine, Brahma, Mayam Punya. Because if you can have the marriage through practice, but the practice can be any type of meditation, and also the Brahma. But the Brahma as the most powerful one, as I mean the four Sulansin, the four immeasurable as the most powerful one. Because the Brahman is nowadays in English, maybe you can translate as a God. Okay. If the God is so powerful as a marriage, is it just purely doing meditation will do? Then he say, yeah, something also very similar to it. Not just meditation, even the meditation on the four immeasurable mind is the most, but that's why I mentioned here. Apart from the practice of the four immeasurable mind, there are three others that bring about divine marriage also. Because you can have a marriage by different things, but in order to have divine marriage and marriage are still different. Okay, maybe best to say that. In Buddhism, believe that when you have a divine marriage, it means you will become like a king. Not just because you're rich, you will become like a leader. People will listen to you. Okay, that's called a divine marriage. You almost like have more the power to control the thing. And it's usually believed that if you want to be president, you want to be the king in any area, you must have the divine marriage. It's not just marriage. That's what the Buddhists understand. So in other words, if one day you think that next night you want to be or next night in another life you want to be like a president, the most powerful president, depends how marriage you develop. You cannot just develop marriage. You have to develop more than divine marriage. Okay. So, to have this divine marriage, one other thing you can just set up the stupa where there is no previous stupa from the relics of the Buddha. There's not many nowadays. First, it's so hard to find the relic of the Buddha. And then, if they have a stupa, you set up that it's not divine marriage. It's marriage, but it's not divine marriage. To have the divine marriage, you must have the occasion to build a stupa when there's a Buddha statue, and then the stupa is not there. Okay. And the second, one has to set up a monastery where there is no previous monastery for disciple of the Buddha. Basically, it means if that place has no monastery, but you set that up monastery. In other words, in the long run, I mean you're helping the monastery grow. Please don't just take a material monastery, mean monastery. I always believe in the deeper sense, mean you have the Dharma there, of course. That helping that is a powerful marriage, it's a divine, not just a marriage, okay, as I say. And the third way, one unified Sangha that was split. Now what IBA doing? We must be trusting that. Actually, why I still engage in IBA. Not many people are echoing, I would say. However, I still do that because we are all Buddhist monks or all Buddhist all Buddhist tradition or all Buddhist organization. We should be unite together. Yes, not many people recognize that. It's not surprising. And I always tell Professor Haber, don't be discouraged sometimes. You building a marriage, I think Professor Haber may think, what are you talking about? Even, how many people next in one life can be a president of the world? Not many, right? Because in the past life, they have to do something can unite the people. Okay? According to Buddhist scripture teaching, that they have to reunite the Sangha, mean all the monks and Buddhist community, you unite them together. It's not easy. It's so easy to separate that. I don't care about you. So difficult, you want to unite these people, and these people always like to fight different. They forget our core teachings, right? No, don't believe. If you don't believe me, try to do that. No, it's not. Very, very difficult. This is difficult, but now we must remember, at least this is one way to keep me too. Even though I'm not also wanting to be a great leader in the future or whatever, but I know this is good for my divine marriage, and because of divine marriage, if one day I never know my karma, and then maybe I can, if I'm still good in the virtue, and then I can one day in one life, if I be a leader, maybe I guess I can be a better leader because I have a good virtue too, so on and so forth. Okay, that's what I want to say here. That's why he say that if the divine merit can be linked to the wheel-turning king or lead the rebirth as the king of the god, Sakra, or rebirth as a king in the realm of the Paradinimita, anyway, one of the highest heavens in this desire realm, or rebirth as a king in the realm of Mahabrahma even. Look, imagine. So it's so king, okay, when you have built up this kind of divine merit. If not just help using only the four immeasurable mind meditation, but also doing this kind of, you could also build up such a good merit for in the one life, at least you become this powerful merit. Okay, I think I need to jump in order to wrap up a little bit. Okay, so and it's interesting, even the divine merit, according mentioned by the Vasuddhana Abhidhamma course here, it's that even it's also why the Buddha sometimes had 32 marks is also because of divine merit. As I say, it's not just simply merit, 不是只是福报，它是一种叫天福，或者不是天福，放福，一定要放福。So and they must have this kind of divine merit in order to have 32 marks. Because in order to be a Buddha, they have to lead these so difficult people. Always have to not argue, like be disjoined, what can ask to these people who disagree with him. Especially in India at that time, they have so many different religious ideas. They had to face these people, always challenge him too, right? So that you must have this kind of Greek merit in order that they were able to convince them or let them to understand their teaching. So, okay, now we're back to the last subject. I will cut it short too. The first of just now we say, in order to have the path as to the equipment or as to the requisite, So you consist of two kind of, like you could say, floating way. One is the merits through the the merits, and the other and the other is the flow to the liberation. Okay. The flow to liberation is more about the renunciation, intended to renunciation. Okay. Now we come to another topic, which is not necessarily from most of the religion now, but it's a very unique kind of Buddhist religion. But maybe even share some of the Indian other religion in general. But still, there's a difference between that. Even in the Abhidhamma Sarvastiva, always have a very lot of debate there too. Like, are you saying that the other religion don't have this kind of thing? No, we don't say they don't, but they are different. Why? Okay. So one thing is that first we must say intended renunciation. So the word intended renunciation later on, it becomes pranidhana, means 发愿 in Chinese. Okay. But in early time, it's just called intended renunciation. So because when you have this 法院, the resolution include two aspects, the development of detachment and the wisdom. When people, when they have this correct way to 法院 or to have this resolution, they have to be resolved in the development of detachment. Nirvana mean, like we know we have attachment, and then we need to put away attachment like that. So you must have this kind of wish, determination or resolution to have this. And the resolution to have the wisdom. Why I want to mention this also one thing. I like to stress because a lot of people, they don't understand that marriage is so important. Like just now I said, practice this, practice meditation and so forth. They only straight come to here. And then they don't have the very good ground or foundation. And they only think this. It's only when people they really do a lot of good things. Meditation, generosity, in terms of generosity or meditation, and in terms of virtue. So now they know something, if you want to follow the Buddhist path, that one thing you want to get enlightenment. This thing is wonderful, you have to do it. But then there's still something is missing. Okay? That is, you must have the mind to think. Things still need to be renounced one day. Okay? I say this not only in any Sravakayana, I will mention this. Mahayana always emphasizes on this. Always emphasizes this. And I think a lot of people study Buddhism, they miss that part. They think that they want to have shortcut. Right? I mean, this is human nature. We all like one shortcut. We want to read a book. Oh, I don't want to finish the book. Why don't you tell me? I will done. But not that you won't benefit, but it's not really a benefit you do. Right? If you want to get something, you do work on it. So according to this school, when those are doing, when you are fulfilling those things, and then still, as I say, it doesn't share some of the religions, especially, that you must learn this kind of thing, the two things. And these two things, later on, the concept, as the liberation is showing the seed which leads to liberation, is also called the seed of awakening, it's called Buddhidongzi, okay? And this kind of thing, later on, it becomes what they call bodhicitta. Whenever you talk bodhicitta, the mind of the Buddha, or the mind of the body, it's always talk about renunciation. It always, and then of course you can explain as a renunciation as a body, and renunciation as in terms of the mind. So, and then this is not enough. If it's just only renunciation, it's just one part. And some Vega, in early Abhidhamma, they didn't have the term, what they use some Vega, mean not just only renunciation, you must also have the determination, 发愿, so resolution. Now, this is not the Mahayana. This is from the Sarvastivada. They also say that way. If anyone wants the liberation, to be precise, that time, you're still not qualified as a Mahayana if you're Mahayana, but it did mention in Chinese, but that is a seed for you, started to become, one day you can be liberated, But you still need this kind of factors to do so. The early term they use as aid to liberation depends on the intention. I mean, this is just a translation. The original word is asya, ashaya, or atyasaya, 正善意了 in Chinese. Why? I like to translate as glad intention. It's interesting. This is a very interesting, because it's believed that it's saying that when one has generated the glad intention, the intention of disgust with the mundane world, and is looking forward to nirvana, even with a few skillful action, he's the one who has implanted the ace of liberation. Okay. Now, so that's why traditional asks you, when you really do all the good merits, you need to make the resolution that you want to attain Nibbana one day. And the rationalism has to be do it with the glad mind. And remember, when you do the transfer marriage, every time, not that you just have to do this way, you also have to even remember, before you do this, you must feel glad in your mind. Feel the glad in your mind, and as well as you have to, what is the term I was about to say? Recognize you are pure now, because you have no anger there. If you do Brahma Vihara meditation, or if you are other meditation, you will find now you don't have much craving now, you don't have much proud or pride now, and so forth. Because that by recognizing in here what we say, the intention of disgust here, they translate disgust means you renounce this kind of thing. By recognizing, not just because I do marriage, I also learn whatever I do, and then my mind can be renounced from all this kind of thing. So let's say if I show my kindness to people, that is a marriage, right? And I do my generosity, but just show my kindness. To my cultivation, I build a marriage. To my action, I give the thing a generosity. Or I speak something nice as generosity, and then build up a good virtue. But I also recognize that my mind is out of anger. It's renounced that one. That renunciation for the purpose of become enlightenment one day. Okay? That means then you are fulfilling the factors of the God intention, means you plant the seeds. So the seed is called the body seed. And this is the seed. So, like similarly, I will wrap up that. Like a fish, when a fish follows the bait, which is the ace of liberation, for a short period of time it remains in the water, wandering around and hiding in a cavity. But sooner or later it's pulled by the fisherman on the shore, implying the practitioner will definitely go to the other shore when the ace to liberation has developed. Just like, you have hooked something for the fish. Even the fish, you didn't pull the fish up yet, but the fish having this bait and it will just even hide anywhere, you still have the link to the fish, because when the time is arrived, you think you want to pull, you pull it up. It's still here, pulling me almost like the liberation, you pull it. So you have to plant that. That's the first simile. First, I want to jump that. And the second, although one, so here, remind the people, if you want, it's not just a marriage to be like the king on it, but even one day will become Nibbana. But this is, Buddhism already care, or some, at least this is many for the monk, don't forget, for monastic member, don't necessarily every lay people want that, but especially for the monk. And then when even though you do all these things, but without implanting of the ace of liberation, one is still eventually reborn in the rhyme hungry. Eventually mean not right now, but it's still, you never know one day, one time, that it could be that. So remember before we say that you need to fear also, fear of this kind could happen to us. Okay. And the second, although one keep well in the precept and study, recite the Shastra, literature, and Abhidhamma text, as well as the worldly text, and other religious texts, look at this. The Buddha didn't say that you don't learn this thing, you must kind of like you learn it. Even though you learn all these things, without the implantation of the ace of liberation, one is still eventually reborn in the animal and like that. So this is the second thing. Full of ignorance, even could not speak. So to put this emphasis, the implant of the ace of liberation is very, very important, So, and the third, although one has cultivated meditation, the first one we're talking about, you cultivate the dana, right? The second one, you cultivate the sila, the virtue. The third one, you cultivate meditation, detach from stand or detach from the stand of desiring, or detach from the form of formless, meaning a very advanced meditation dhyana. That you actually, but even to have this, even 5 kinds of supernatural power and very powerful dhyana that connect to the heavens and so forth. And then because of the 4 immeasurable mind meditation. Okay. Without implantation of ace of liberation, one is still eventually reborn there. That means one life you will reborn. Well, it's kind of say, okay, now when you finish a marriage, you have first is about generosity. The second is about you have the virtue. The third is you do a meditation, the 4 Brahma Vihara. Why do you want to say the detached from samurai and this and that? Basically, mean you have the Brahma Vihara. When you have the Brahma Vihara, when the focus becomes better and better, and then you can link to yourself as the heavens, okay, different type of heavens. And I also mentioned in earlier time when people practice the Brahma Vihara or foreign immeasurable meditation, it's not just meditation. It's a divine marriage. It's not a normal marriage. We just mentioned that already, right? And this divine marriage, even though you are like that, you are so powerful, can be even the merit enough for you to become a king. If you born heaven, you become king of heaven. Or if you are here, you become a king or leader or whatever. However, if you don't implant this, then there's a likable. I mean, it could have a chance at one time if you not do it well and then you were born in a hell, not a good place. Okay? Please understand in Buddhism, hell is not eternal place. It just only suffer a long time and then they will reborn again. And the number 4, to give the example, I was going to wrap up my talk today. I'm sorry, it's been a little bit too long. It's, they say the Uttakarama Buddha, when the Buddha before he gained enlightenment, when he just renounced his life as a prince, and then he studied meditation under Uttakarama Buddha. He actually, we know that his meditation is so powerful. Uttakarama Buddha, the meditation came up to the Nirvasanya, Ayasanya stage. His meditation, the dhyana, is up to the formless dhyana. Not the 4 dhyana, but if I like to say it simple, I mean 5, 6, 7, 8 dhyana. Okay, and he can reach that. What in generally believed the most powerful in the meditation already. And even they have this sort of thing, because he didn't plan this aid of liberation. So he had this powerful, after he died, he can believe in this so long in the formless kind of heaven, but he still be reborn, could liable to reborn to the not a good place, because just he didn't plan the aid of liberation. Now, the last example, like a Devadatta. We know the Devadatta, the story. He's a cousin of the Buddha, younger. And so whatever reason, when Buddha came to a very old age, and then Devadatta asked the Buddha, you are the leader of the Sangha. Yeah. Why don't you just give the leader, almost like a king, Why don't you give the throne for me? I want to become the leader. And the Buddha said, I never said that I'm the leader of the Sangha. Yes, people think that way, but he never think that way. Okay? I never say I'm a leader. I only said that the Dharma as a leader, not that I'm the leader. Okay? So Devadatta anyway, somehow, because of many reasons, he pursued to the Buddha, and Buddha was disagree with him. So, and it's said that Devadatta is so powerful, he has a fine supernatural power. Even he could transform his body, become a little baby. It's said that Ajatasattu, as a prince at the time, before he killed his father to get the throne as a king, So, and Devadatta, in order to please the prince, and then he always transform a little baby and let the prince like hugging the baby, like that. So, well, anyway, the story is so popular. I mean, in a way, Devadatta is very powerful in their meditation practice. There's no doubt. But he also actually, because he was under the monk, under the Buddhist tradition, he was well practiced. How his mind did plan this aid of liberation, because he knows liberation is very important. He planned that seed. But because, this has happened. Even in the story, it always happened. Sometimes he just lost his mind, he won power. Because he wouldn't get it. He thought the Buddha would give it to him, because if he asked the Buddha to give the power to him as a leader in the Sangha, it showed that he must be also have a lot of people encourage him to do so also. Like, oh, you are the good, why don't you just do that? But it's no harm to ask, but the Buddha explained he didn't listen. And that's why at the end he wanted to kill the Buddha even. That's the thing. Now, but according to the Buddhist understanding, so he, of course, after he died, he born to the hell. However, interesting than the Buddha say, he born to the hell after when he finishes karma, bad karma, as a hell, and he will reborn again, and then one day he will become a Pacceka Buddha. But the Buddha never say that his previous teacher, Ramaputra, Uttaka as the Pacceka Buddha. No. But the Buddha did say that Devadatta, he will become a Pacceka Buddha. So the Sarvastivadis explained that why? It's because Devadatta has planted the seed of Asa liberation. That's why, even though he immediately born to the hell and did so bad karma, because when he practiced, he did do that, still that is a good important factor for him. One day, even though he will not become Arahant right now, he's supposed to be, can be sent, noble person like Sotapanna, he didn't. He still have the seed that after all this karma gone, one day he become Pacceka Buddha. So that's just to stress. So how much merit you build, like the previous Rama Buddha as a very powerful Indian at that time as a meditate master, but still Devadatta, even he behaved such a way, he still can be, attain Nibbana one day. All right, I will just wrap up the talk. This is just a very simple, I would say the whole picture. But now when you read this, you think, it's so simple. Trust me, if you want to read yourself, it take, usually if you don't have 10 years kind of reading skill, you will not come up with this. But now, this is why I like people do a lot of research of Buddhism. Now when I give this talk, and I also thank to my classmate when I was in England, he also, when he do the research, he do this kind of topic and all this. So we need these people really in the subject. So we don't have to, then we will suffer to do everything. So when they do that, we base on some of the sources, we become better and better explain the thing. That's why study is also very important. So, okay, now I will just finish my talk here, and maybe if you have questions, just one question, and we should wrap up because yeah.
No,
yes.
There's a slide that I saw on Vasubandhu's right in the first, probably the very beginning of the lecture. Look at that and explain that. I think it's way up in the front. Yeah, I think, yeah, go ahead. As far as front as possible.
Not this one.
Right. No, it had the word Vasubandhu in there. So,
Oh, okay. I
prior
think,
to that,
I really? I thought it's a little bit
no,
later.
way in the front. So, you skipped over that, I remember that.
I skipped that.
Yeah. It's probably the fourth slide from the front. Yeah, that's this one, the one.
This one?
Yeah, Vasubandhu's definition.
Yeah, it said that,
Elaborate on that.
huh?
Could you elaborate on that?
Usually when you look at Sanskrit, you know Sanskrit, so it say like, Punya Bhagiyang is an object, right? Yat Ishta Vipakang, right? So the result, as this kind of desired result, what to say? Basically means that when we say that the Punya Bhagiyang, so it will reach one to achieving the fruit, what they desire to. Yeah. For example, like, if some people, they have a good wish thinking that, for the future, that they really think that they should build up the marriage, not only because now they're doing a good thing now, but that good thing have a really about the long run that they can be a good leader so that they have a better work, right? So then they will try the best. For example, to practice this and to do this, not just simply just helping, but with the understanding. Always Buddhism talk about the wisdom. So with the understanding, then they get more benefit, right? When you understand why you want to do that and you understand well. So it's just different from when you just do it. So then you will get with the Punya Bhagiyang, with this Punya Bhagiyang, then it will give you such a that result as one wanted, like that. Okay. Yes.
The fear, like the fear to lose the essential resources for life. Is like if you have fear to lose essential resources for life, doesn't that mean that you have an attachment?
I said that this is the beginner stage. Do not talk Nibbana now. Do not talk like you're Arahant. For example, let's say the fear of the resource even as a monk. So you should fear of the resource that people may not give you the food to eat. I know nowadays people have this argument about this. So because of that, you know that you should be good. Otherwise, people are not going to offer you the food. The same thing that when you fear of the resource, for example, you go to work, you should work hard. Otherwise, you are not going to be, they will fire you, right? Don't you think that there's something to do with the fear? By nature, I don't think you want to wake up early to go to work, okay? For sure. But because of fear, you'll be fired, so you wake up. Don't tell me that, oh, after I learn Buddhism, don't you think this is the attachment? I will keep on sleeping. No, that's mean by that. You know, you must have this. It's also a virtue, and that you need to feel of that you lost the job. The same to the monk, and particularly that you must be, feel of that, so that you, because our mind is always, you know what I'm saying. Then you try to be at least not show your ugly face to the devotee are nice to you, right? It's the same thing when you go to a restaurant to eat. They always say, don't argue with the people, what they call this is, waiter. Don't argue with them. They might spit that on the food and for you, right? If you have that nicely, because of fear of that, you don't get a good food, and then you talk to the chef, hi, nice, how are you? Yeah, this is how sometimes in Taiwan people bring me to go to a good restaurant because they know the chef. And then I just nicely smile and talk, and they add more for you, put more. This is out the fear of the resource, right? When I say fear, that is just language. It's just, you don't have to read it that way. Fear means that, like that. No, you must have that kind of conscious. Okay?
Is this something we need to get, like, when you're trying to reach our hardship, like in not a beginner anymore, like later on, is that fear also something you get rid of? Do arahants have...
Can we stop the arahant? I didn't talk about arahant. Forget about arahant at the moment, okay? My topic here still, you must build up this, the equipment, okay? And I just say, again, this is a big job. And this is the first equipment, when if you look at other religion, they only talk that, even not that elaborate as Buddhism also, okay? I just want to say that. But that even sufficient for many things. Don't just craving for arahant. And I always say that people also ask me to practice in the top one. We can discuss when we study, but we must know what's the priority now. Okay. As a study or as a philosophy, we can discuss that. But especially do not think that you could do it now, all this kind of thing. According to Sarvastivati, you definitely need to build up your marriage. So otherwise, you might be even one day lucky because of past karma, whatever lucky you achieve. You still cannot do many things for the society and people because your marriage is not enough. Okay. Just like people, let's say the marriage is only like, they didn't build up the marriage, they might be trying very hard and they're lucky, blah, blah, blah. And then they can become so powerful like Arahant, for example. But nobody knows them. And they die like that. That they must marry so that they can do many more things. So that the result had much more resource for generating the better for the humankind. Imagine now if one of the presidents in America become a monk and become Arahant. I think maybe whole America one day will become Buddhist country too. You know what I'm saying? Right? Then you. Okay, yes. What's on?
So the glad intention, like when we're doing transfer marriage, we need to like feel glad that we don't have attachments or anger and stuff like. Is that similar to having a desire for having?
Maybe it's okay. We are going to open a class in Buddhism study next year, so we can discuss it. No, certainly not. Yeah, the word the desire in Buddhism also have many words. They don't use the word here tanha. They don't use the word here as karma. They don't use that term. It's a different term. In English, we just translate, that as a desire, just in order for people to understand but not the word even in Sanskrit or Pali, not the same word.
Like, what's the best way to sort of manage that gladness so you won't have like tanha after it? Oh, I'm glad that
Here is that on the basis because you have renunciation idea. Right, for example, I know that now I have renounced or even away from my anger. So I wish, or kind of, then I will put the resolution to become Arahant one day. That is, the Buddhism is not tanha, it's not a desire. Like the people, I want it, they don't do it. And they just want it making their problem. And this kind of mind, they would not make them in the problem. They would not create a kind of defilements come in. No defilements will 就变成漏了，中文它不会变成入漏。It's like anusaya. I know漏 is no. It would not become like an asava state. No, it's just a pure mind. That will become a seed, so that one day it will become nibbana. Okay, understand? Okay. Anyway, thank you for your attention, and I ask for pardon. It's a long talk, and thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, I'm relieved. I hope this is a renunciation also. Are you going to say something?
Everybody take some 5 minutes break from the talk. So I have a few observations because immediately after this thing, several things came to my mind when he was talking about this detailed analysis, plan of action, because firstly, Bhante, I want to first deeply thank you. Even today, I keep pinching myself. Are Bhante Dhammadeva, Sagarananda, and other venerables, yes, are they real? Yes, they are real, because you're coming to this area and doing what you're doing. I don't know, I feel it's my own merit that had made this even possible. And I just cannot begin to express my gratitude and thankfulness for your wisdom, your generosity, and your kindness in the greater plan of the IBA. It's really, I think, the merit of all of us. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart, because we've been trying. So that's first. The other thing is a few aspects in terms of what Bhante Dhammadeva had said today. If you take a look at both the Theravada list of the 10 paramis and the Mahayana list of the 6 paramitas, Dana is number 1 on that list, on both lists. And it's usually, if you take a look at the Theravada version, they're all in Pali, and this one is all in Sanskrit, the Mahayana one. But the Dana is the only one that is the same in Sanskrit and the same in Pali. There is no variation. Everything, for instance, patient, Shanti in Sanskrit, Kranti in Pali. So, like that, I'm saying, that is so important that Dana is considered number 1 on that list, that the Abhidharma going into this level of detailed analysis has given me certain ideas in terms. Many times, many of my colleagues and other people that I have met, other fellow scholars, they always say, metaphysics, there can be no dialogue really because we come from different family of religions, we think differently. Let us have a dialogue on ethics. Let us perhaps have a dialogue on what we call contemplation in the Western traditions and you call meditation in the Eastern tradition. That would be a good seminar to have either at the university or here, because any interfaith we cannot do it under the auspices of IBA. This is all Buddhist only. So we can do it apart from that, purely as a US Zen and my university, or even free from anything, or even bring it directly under the MA program of the University of Helenia, which Bhante is thankfully starting. Also, one of the other comparison between Sarvastivada, Abhidharma, and even Theravada, Abhidharma, and a few others, to give this kind of detailed analysis. The important thing also that I found in this question of dana, the analysis in terms of how one must do dana, all the subdivisions that he gave, so wonderful. It reminds me of the story of Anathapindika, one of the great benefactors of the Buddha, male benefactors. Remember, he's the one who got the Jetavana. When in one of the commentaries that I read on the Buddha Charitamrita, which is a detailed biography of the life of the Buddha from the Mahayana perspective, you just have the Buddha Vamsa and the Pali canon in the Buddha Nikaya. The issue comes up when, in the commentaries, the monastery has been built, and Anathapindika employs cooks. And the Buddha prefers to go out into the street and receive dana as the delicious food that's been cooked in there. And Anathapindika is puzzled. Just I cooked or had cooked through my cooks delicious food over here. And most venerable one, you still prefer to go out into the street to accept ordinary dana, ordinary. And the food may not be on that top line as the one that you find in mind. So the Buddha replies, at least according to that commentary, says, yes, you have employed cooks and the food is delicious perhaps, but it is not dana in the way that it ought to be done. Number one is your cooks are doing it out of a sense of chore, mechanical, employee mentality. Oh, it's to be something that is to be done and gotten over with. And that itself, right there in the Abhidharma that Bhante pointed out in detail, how dana should be done with all the subdivisions that he gave. And that's important to keep in mind, that it's not just dana alone, but how that dana ought to be done. That you have to do it with the sense of deep sincerity, that it has to be done with such devotion. You have to feel a sense of shame and guilt even. Am I doing it properly? Not something that is to be done and gotten over with. That thought that goes into doing something meritorious is very, very important. That sense of shame. Sense of shame not only in regard to dana, a whole bunch of other things. I remember once, this is again going far back, of course it's in a different context, but that deep sense of shame and that sense of pride that comes out of it. Of course, he was not doing it on merit, but it was important that for him, this was my father. I was a very young boy, maybe 15 years, 16 years old. This was this, I'm talking about late 60s, early 60s. We were in Singapore, and the taxi driver, he took, literally, he was a Chinese gentleman, took 10 minutes to explain to me, to my father, how not to get cheated by any other taxi driver. Because he said, my founding father of my country, the Honorable Lee Kuan Yew, had told what it is to be a proud Singaporean. I can understand that kind of thing coming from an intellectual or somebody of a high standard. He was merely a cab driver. He had that depth of pride of feeling and that sincerity that whatever that I'm doing it well. That here is this person who has come from a different country, and therefore it is my job to tell them what is proper and what is not proper. He needn't have done that. That was one. And the other thing that comes out of this, the sense of sincerity. I remember when we were in the Netherlands, and Bhante was talking about, you leave sometimes a chair outside, the chair disappears. It depends on the country, of course, and he's absolutely right. because what happened was we were in the Netherlands, and this was a lot closer. I was a lot older this time. I had a wife. I didn't have a wife. I was too young for that in Singapore. So this was my wife and I, and even my parents were there. We were all going, and my son was a little fellow. And my wife dropped her pearl necklace, and this was something that my mother had given. She had brought it from Japan in the 50s, the Mikimoto, and it just fell off. And she didn't even realize that it had fallen off. The young Dutch taxi driver said, "Ma'am, here it is, you dropped something." I don't think this would be done in any other country. Perhaps, I don't know. But he was such an honest driver. That kind of thing. That sense of pride, that sense of what will other people think if I didn't do this properly, if I didn't do this in a decent way. So all that is, Bhante was telling this in the context of dana, but this can be applied to other aspects of that sense of depth of sincerity. Sincerity itself has got its own value. And the fact that...
That's actually cultivating the sila.
Sila, yeah, exactly. So the dana and the sila come together because when Bhante had divided into dana, sila, and bhavana, the three divisions there. That's important in terms of that. So that sense of this thing came to my mind, these experiences in our lives. So it's not something that is divorced from all of this, but very much that we feel in our lives, and that we can recall and make it as part of our experience, and then relate back to what Bhante has said in terms of it. And that's why I was so caught by the two things that Bhante talked about. He was talking in terms of, first of all, the categorization between the punya bhaga and the moksha bhaga, the salvation, that the two are related, and he showed the difference between these two. That meritorious aspect of punya bhaga, very, very important to note. Not just, it's just merit or giving away, but the depth of analysis that the Abhidharma goes into. And that's really is what is appreciated. It is a text that is ethical, that is metaphysical, and meditational all thrown into one. It is really, in that sense, a guide and an encyclopedia of the Dharma itself, the Abhidharma. So properly named is Abhidharma in that sense. So that really what stuck into my mind when Bhante explained how wonderful this has been, so well enunciated. That enunciation is very important in terms of just not saying just the titles. He could have said just dana, moved on, and said the subdivisions of how the dana ought to be done, and relating it back to sila. And that, I really found it utterly fascinating and engaging in your talk today. I thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Sure.
Before we go to the next thing, I have Alan, you have to help me out on this. This thing here from the USB. I'll take a quick break if you don't mind. So, basically.
Okay.